Hello there, good evening, and welcome once again to another edition of the MrWarrenHayes Show. God damn it, I'm Mr. Warren Hayes. I don't know why I suddenly got really aggressive. I'm really happy to be here once again on another Thursday evening. In fact, November 18, 2021. My God, man. For all my pals in the United States, Thanksgiving is literally a week away. And then we're going to move head on into the holidays, like into the Christmas era of the year. Man, time flies. It flies. But it's you know what? Not only does it fly, but these days it soars. It soars and just glides above the clouds. That is everything terrible, because we are going to be talking about professional wrestling tonight, which is what I usually do here on the Mr. Warren Hayes Show, live every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific, on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes. That's where I record the stuff. This is, that's when I set myself up, get everything fired up, and I do this stream of consciousness. I got a few notes here set up, and we're just ready to go, talking about the week in wrestling. And I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate the people joining me live here tonight to join along with my thoughts, share some thoughts themselves in the very, very alive chat room that I have on every Thursday night, because we've got Robert Larry here again as well. Always, the original, the OG crew, like not the OG, but what's the word I'm looking for? The crew that are always here first every week. Kelly, Tonjes, Robert Larry, Good to see you. I did see Tim Traver here too. Nice to see you, Tim Traver, good friend of the show. Nice to see you. We also got Justin Firestein, who's here as well. Nice to see you, Justin. Welcome to the show. Got our boy Ben Phantomark82. Where should you follow Phantomark82? YouTube.com/Phantomark82. Facebook.com Phantomark82. Because he does fantastic synthwave, chillwave music, and he's so generous. He allows me to use it for my pre-roll when I'm getting everything set up, the last few checks and whatnot. Follow Ben. Follow Phantomark82. That's what you do. Thank you very much, Ben, for being here once again. We've also got Mark Forbes, who's here. Nice to see you, Mark. Dylan McKenzie. Hello. And look at that. We've got Conrad from Everything Pro Wrestling joining me here as well. Nice to see you, Conrad. I'm going to talk about you in a second. I just don't want to break the usual rhythm here. I like my routines. What are you going to do? I stick to the script in some regards. Look, thank you everyone for joining me here live on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes. If you're already into it, if you're already enjoying everything that I'm doing right now, which is basically shouting people out who are taking time out of their Thursday night to come and hang out here, if you like that already, give the video a thumbs up. If you want to wait a little later to see how things go, you can do that as well. But, regardless, do consider doing it because it helps out a great deal. And if you're watching this on demand as well, absolutely give it a like too. That kind of stuff, it's really, really important to the success of the show. Getting the show out there even more and more. So please. It's fantastic. And if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast application, you can show some love there as well. A review, a 5-star review, those things like, Apple's like, oh, people really like this guy. We should push him forward. Some follows on Spotify, on Stitcher, and all that stuff. Whatever you can do to show some love there as well. Thank you very much, and I appreciate very much all of you listening to this on the audio side of the world of podcasting. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I also thank you very much for visiting belltobells.com. That's your women's wrestling wire. BELLTOBELLES.com. We also have tons of wonderful interviews over at youtube.com/belltobells. That stuff is fantastic. I spoke to so many fantastic women over the past couple of months. Fantastic, talented wrestlers. Go check that out. And of course, follow us on Twitter at belltobells. Twitter.com at belltobells. BELLTOBELLES.com. Or not .com on Twitter. But look. I'm confused. I put that in the Discord today that I'm confused, and someone had the balls to say this is an evergreen post. So join the Mr. Warren Hayes Discord, and then you can backhandedly insult me like that as well. The link is in the description. The Discord is a fun place. It's a fun time. It's a nice little oasis from all the nonsense. Good people, fun things, fun conversation. Come check it out. Absolutely come check it out whenever you get an opportunity. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Also, on top of it all, right? Don't forget. Not don't forget, but here's the thing. I often talk about, becoming a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show, because that's always a great way to show some support as well. You become a member of the show, of the channel, I should say, show some support for the show, and you get to join us. Once I'm done here, I always do a post show, right? Every Thursday night after the main show, I do a post show. And you know what I'm doing on the post show tonight? I'm doing something special. I am recording my WWE Survivor Series 2021 prediction show. I'm going to be doing that immediately when we're done. For members only, it's going to be recorded. I'm going to release it this weekend for the population. But if you want to come and join us and watch it live, you become a member. Become a member right now. And as soon as I'm done on the mainstream, we hop over to on the membership side, and you'll get to join in here. And when I say we, I'm not just talking about me and the members. I have a guest. He's here in the chat. He popped up. And I was like, hey, there he is. But Conrad from Everything Pro Wrestling is going to be joining me tonight. And we're going to be talking about Survivor Series. My God, man. Like, if you want to hear me rant about, I don't want to give any spoilers because I'm saving this for the members tonight. If you want to come and hear me go off on certain things related to Survivor Series, please do. Come join us. It should be a good time. It'll be fun. And, I'm going to try and keep the interactivity going with the members as well. Should be a good time. Should be a fun time. I'm really glad Conrad and I have been trying to get this going together, and we just have really incompatible schedules. Conrad's a good dude. And we've been trying to do this for a while, and then at some point it's like, look, can you come and do this like at the worst possible time, like at 11 p.m. Eastern, And he said, sure. And I was like, okay, cool. Let's do it. So I'm glad he's going to be there. It should be a lot of fun. Become a member today, and then you can join us tonight in the chat, in the Discord. Discord calls coming in. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a lot of fun. You can also leave a super chat as we go along here. And I will read your question or comment live on the air as we're going around town, along the town, up and down town. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. So once I start getting into that mood, I think the most logical thing for me to do at this point is to just move on and get things started. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the weekly wrestling inspection. Did not spill my water this week. For those of you who are following the lore of the MrWarrenHayes show last week, spilled this entire glass of water just like a couple of minutes before coming on air. Did not do it this week. I'm a pro. A pro learns from his mistakes. You screw up, something bad happens. You're like, all right, you know what? It's okay. I'm going to learn from this, and I'm not going to do it again. That's what pros do. No more water spilling. So, this week, once again, as I usually do, or sometimes do, I don't want to say usually, oftentimes do, I drop a fantastic poll for the live crowd here, asking them what they would like me to talk about first tonight. And I had asked them, would you like me to talk about New Japan's give an update on New Japan's Best Super Juniors tournament that's going on right now? I said nope, 0% people vote for that. Do you want me to start by talking about the Charlotte Flair Becky Lynch stuff? 0%. Said no. We don't want you to talk about that to begin with. So I said, well, do you want me to do my full gear review? And 100% of peoples have decided that that's what they wanted me to start off the show with this week. And Nelly, let's go right ahead and talk about this fantastic pay-per-view. Now, straight off the gate, I'm sure you're saying, first of all, no, actually straight off the gate, hello to 5th generation Carney Joseph with it. Welcome to the chat, sir. Welcome to the chat. So this is what we're going to start talking about. Now, the main question, like the one that I'm sure is burning inside you right now, like a conflagration of, conflagration, that's the word, right? Conflagration? Hang on a second. Conflagration. If I could spell that, it'd go better. Conflagration. Yes, it is. Conflagration. Yes. The conflagration that is consuming your insides right now, I am convinced of this. Ladies and gentlemen, you're asking yourself, you're saying, Warren, did you think that Full Gear was a better pay-per-view than All Out 2021? And the answer to this is not a resounding, but it's a very clear-cut no. I don't think it's a better show overall than All Out was. I think All Out was special. It was lightning in a bottle. Everything connected. Everything made sense. That said, Full Gear is absolutely not a terrible show. We're just comparing to the cream of the crop here, right? When you're comparing to, like, you know, the top, the tippy top, tip tops, you know, it's like everything is going to be a little not quite as good beneath it, but Full Gear is a far cry from being a bad show. This was a very entertaining pay-per-view event. Extravaganza, I would say. Let's get talking about it. Get into the match. And chat, let me know what you think. What did you prefer? Full Gear or All Out? I want to know. That kind of stuff is interesting to me. I like to keep my finger on the pulse of the wrestling viewer. This is how you take the pulse out of someone. Yes, this is how you take it out of someone. This is how you take someone's pulse. In movies, in Hollywood, you know, they're like, they do this, you know, and they do that, right? Right? But that's movie magic. That's movie making. In real life, this is how you check if someone's still alive, because eventually someone's going to go, ow, cut that out. Mohammed Suleiman, nice to see you. And Swiss Roll Chris, good to see you too. Welcome to my CPR lessons. This is what we're doing tonight. Hikaru Shida and Thunder Rosa defeated Jamie Hayter and Nyla Rose in the buy-in. And hello, J.K. Schwal, and hello, Dylan McKenzie. Yeah, so this was the buy-in match. Fun little match. Look, and I'm going to reserve most of my commentary regarding this match for a little later on, as we're discussing the card. But fun match to open things up. This was obviously quite clearly a preview of the upcoming TBS title tournament matches that were being set up for us. We have Hikaru Shida versus Nyla Rose that happened this week on Dynamite. I'll be talking about that. Thunder Rosa versus Jamie Hayter is going to be coming up probably next week, since we're getting Jade versus Red Velvet on Friday. So yeah, let's see how this goes. But this is what it was, right? Just setting up, getting people hyped for it. For all these women who are involved in the tournament in one form or another. But again, I'm going to be talking about this a little later on. A fun little match to start things off. Hot, you know, get the crowd into it. Baby faces win. Yada, yada, yada. First official match of the pay-per-view card. Pay-per-view. Hello, Pete Davies. Hello, Mr. Fantastic. Welcome to you both. Hope your pulse. You guys don't. MJF defeated Darby Allin in what I consider to be the match of the night. Despite it all. I think this match it hit everything that I love about a pro wrestling match. It really did. MJF came out dressed in purple, because this was coming from Minneapolis, the home of Prince. And he came out dressed in purple, and I was like, of course. It was more like a lavender, for being honest. But I'm sure that was a shot. Pew. I was like, of course MJF is going to come out dressed as perennial babyface Prince in his hometown, right? But this was an excellent wrestling match. MJF is great. And I don't know why there's a bunch of people. Look, I can appreciate that folks weren't aware of MJF's in-ring prowess because they weren't familiar with his time in MLW. I can't blame people for not watching MLW, right? Not because it's bad. It's just difficult to find, to watch. Just, not necessarily easy. So if you were unfamiliar with MJF, and you're going like, man, this guy can go. This guy's amazing. How I thought he was a chump. Even if you were saying this to yourself, Jungle Boy versus MJF at Revolution 2020, I think, if my memory serves me right, actually, no. My memory does serve me right. It was my favorite match on the show. It was absolutely fantastic and just blew everything away. It was a good old-fashioned wrestling match, built wonderfully from the heel's perspective. Great stuff. Just absolutely great stuff. And we get a great grappling exchange here to start. We get the missed coffin drop on the apron. And that, turns the tides for Darby. MJF is able to get in control here. He works his back with all sorts of backbreakers. That insane tombstone on the apron, my God. And then we get an insane coffin drop on the floor. I'm like, Darby! Stop, Darby! Show some self-love. And Sting comes out as he keeps Wardlow and Shawn Spears from coming to the ring to try and screw things over. And it all comes to an end when MJF challenges Darby to hit him across the head with his skateboard, right? Darby refuses and he's like, nah, I'm not going to do it. But that allows MJF... all this misdirection allows him to put the ring, the diamond ring on his finger, and plonk, just clocks Darby across the chin and gets the win with a side headlock takeover, as MJF said he would do. He said, I could be, because remember in the build-up, he said, Darby's great, but I don't think he's a great pro wrestler. I could beat him with a side headlock takeover, and look at what he did. Look at what he did. Fantastic. Loved this match. Absolutely loved this match. I think it had everything going for it. What a great way to kick off a pay-per-view. Oh, and you know what I forgot? This is what I wanted to check before actually coming in to do, and I'm just thinking about it now. I wanted to check to see how many AEW pay-per-views started with the heel winning the first match. Because I don't think it's happened very often. I really don't. I don't think that's happened. I'm pretty sure. Look, I don't want to say that I'm convinced that this is the first time it ever happened, but I'm also pretty sure that this is not the first time that it happened. Wait, what am I trying? No, this is probably the first time that it happened. Anyway, we'll see. Let's see what else. Okay, we've got next match here, right?
Yeah.
We've got Swiss Roll Chris left us a super chat. Thank you very much. Says more releases with a frowny face. Is WWE releasing more people right now? Or they're being announced? No way. And Heather in the chat just posted some. What? 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 John Morrison? No, this can't be real. Hang on. What? Hang on a second here. All right. This is as live podcasting goes here. Oh my God. Okay, hang on. You know what? I'm going to stick to my script for a second. Okay? I'm going to take a breath. And I am going to keep talking. I am going to finish my review here. And then I would appreciate anyone who's in the Discord, if you can DM me an article with that contains the names of the people, because the names that I'm seeing here blow my fucking mind. Oh my God. Okay, I'm look, honestly, I'm gonna finish my full gear review. I think we should go down this route. Then we'll come back and we'll have some live news here. Holy shit balls. Oh, what is wrong? Okay, here we go. Let's keep going. AEW World Tag Team titles were defended successfully by the Lucha Brothers, defeating FTR. I thought this was an entertaining match, a strong match. You know, this Full Gear was happening on the anniversary of Eddie Guerrero's passing, of course. Dax at some point goes for the Three Amigos, but he gets interrupted on the last one, which was good. Got a great crowd reaction. Ray Phoenix hitting the frog splash was absolutely fantastic. And that got the Eddie chants going in the arena as well. That was amazing. And you know what? The Lucha Bros. Here's my thing. The Lucha Bros are exciting, and they know what to do to excite a crowd. And they're just explosive like that, right? I think, FTR, to a degree, FTR are very good. But I feel like recently their work has been hit or miss. And I'm not, like, this match was a strong match. Don't get me wrong. I loved it. Thought it was very good. And if FTR here were playing more of a, if FTR were playing more of a solid heel group here, a solid heel duo here, I think that it squared off wonderfully with these two dudes here, the Lucha Bros. It was all right. It was fun, but maybe too much of a styles clash. I don't know. Maybe too much. Then we had the finals of the AEW World Title Eliminator Tournament. Bryan Danielson defeated Miro by referee's decision. Commentary noted, right, that Danielson never defeated Miro. Never ever defeated Miro. And this was fantastic, that they mentioned it. And it goes into a thought that I had I can't remember who actually told me. It's been a couple of weeks, but I mean, like, it's something that I have noticed, and a lot of people have been noticing, that the lore of AEW, right, is the lore of wrestling. Like, wherever you've been, whatever you've done, that's the lore that you work with. You're not in some, like, hermetic bubble, where actually lore and history can be retconned in whichever which way you want, right? But when you get to this point, and they're mentioning, Miro is Bryan Danielson has never defeated Miro, I'm like, okay, cool, that's great, and that's all you really needed to know. Didn't necessarily have to say in WWE. We all got the reference. We all know what we were talking about, and I like it. I like that what happens outside of AEW isn't necessarily isn't tossed aside, right? I like that. This was a big match with a big match feel. And here's the story of the match here. The Miro is a monster. Danielson has no quit in him. Miro can beat you up. Danielson can tear you down. Those were the styles that were going head to head here, and it worked. I liked it. I thought it was a good, strong match. I was expecting something maybe a little more violent. I think that was we probably would have got something a little more violent, but you know, I liked it. I thought it was fun. Strong match. Then we had the Falls Count Anywhere match between where Christian Cage and Dino 210 defeated the Super Click, Adam Cole, Matt, and the Jacksons, aka the Young Bucks. I thought this was fun. I thought this was really fun. Bunch of crazy spots, some fun plundering. Christian Cage dropping off a ledge onto Mac Jackson when they were in the crowd. I thought that was dope. There's thumbtacks that were pulled out, put into Jungle Boy's mouth, and they did the kiss thing, where the Bucks kiss Adam Cole. That was fun. I liked it. I thought it was a fun one. Triple BTE trigger on the stage on Luchasaurus, right? Who also gets thrown off the stage as well. That was a lot of fun. And Jungle Boy gets the win by hitting a concerto on Matt. And that was part of the story here. Because Jungle Boy had refused, to do any kind of mean, nasty, hardcore shenanigans, right? He had sort of avoided doing it. But at this point here, this was a lot of fun. That he found the courage to do it. And I think moving forward, everyone keeps saying, well, when are we going to talk about Jungle Boy and the main event thing? When is he going to start going on a singles run? When is he going to start winning titles? Maybe this is the start of point. Maybe this is where, Jungle Boy, like I really believe that the minute we start calling him Jack Perry officially, right? Or Jungle Boy Jack Perry, as JR, keeps ramming down our throats. But the minute that he does that switch where he abandons the Jungle Boy stuff and moves on, I think that's where it's really going to be. That's really where it's going to take charge. Maybe in this circumstance here, the entirety of Jungle Boy for the time being right now has all been about learning. I think he's been learning how to position himself and how to get to that next level. And I think that by accepting the fact that he has to occasionally pull out a concerto in these do or die types of situations, I think this is part of that learning process and this long-term storytelling that will that eventually will become that umbrella under which Jungle Boy is going to evolve into a big-time player, because it's inevitable. It's inevitable that he's going to be a big-time player for the company. Of course he is. It was good stuff. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was really a lot of fun. Cody Rhodes and Pac defeated Andrade El Idolo and Malachi Black. Okay, so this match really didn't belong on the pay-per-view. And it didn't feel like a pay-per-view match. It felt like a good Dynamite match. Something that you'd find that would be an easy watch on a Friday night Rampage. But this did not belong on the pay-per-view. And, even right down to the finish, where FTR gets involved because Pinnacle is still selling FTR's services to Andrade, and there was a lot of can they coexist bullshit here, which is exactly that, bullshit. And look, about the can they coexist as partners thing, right? It's driven into the ground, and I've seen quite a few people tell me, or tell other people as well, mostly, it's like, AEW doesn't do it very often, so I'll give them a pass. Now, I'm not going to give them a pass. I think this kind of storyline, I think this sucks because it's a trope, right? And look, if AEW is going to lean into the universal lore of wrestling, I think at the same time, they need to lean into the universal tropes of wrestling and be like, well, right now, this can they coexist stuff is being driven into the ground by these other guys. Maybe we can try something else. And to a degree, I expect AEW to come up with more creative ideas than the stuff that WWE has been driving down our throats for the past for the past few years, right? It was this, it's the same thought process that accompanies my dislike of the contract signing on the Dynamite Go Home. I didn't care for it, and I still think I think it's an uncreative trope. And here, I don't think it really added any. I don't think the coexist can the misaligned partners coexist thing is very, very exhausted in the minds of a lot of wrestling fans. And I would have assumed AEW to be a little more hip to this. And it's not because they don't do it a lot that they should be given a pass. I'm still going to criticize it. I don't think it's good creative. I think it's dull. And I don't think it was done in a way that makes it all that more creative than what WWE does it. And as far as this match not belonging on the pay-per-view, look, coming back to the buy-in match where you had Shida and Rosa, Thunder Rosa, versus Jamie Hayter and Nyla Rose, I think that in both these, I think that match, the women's match, which, without necessarily having stakes, did have implications of a very immediate storyline, I guess, or at least something to do on the main card with the tournament. That match felt like it belonged on the main card, if only because all of these women are involved right now on the in the TBS title tournament. And that's not to say that, look, I don't know how the pay-per-view pay structure goes for AEW. I'm not going to pretend that I know, but if what WWE does is any indication, well, if you're booked on a pay-per-view, you get a little bump salary-wise, right? You get a little more, you get an extra little kick moving forward here. With that appearance. I also heard that, if you're on the pre-show of a pay-per-view in WWE, you do get a little more money, but not as much as if you're booked on the main card. Look, if only for a question of money, they could have put all of these 4 women on the main card, 2 of whom are former world champions, right? And Thunder Rosa, who is super over as a babyface, male or female right now. And Jamie Hayter's fantastic. They could have bumped this up onto the main card. And they could have put, the Can They Coexist match on the pre-show, because it didn't feel special. They didn't wrestle like it meant something special. It's something that really belonged on a Dynamite or a Rampage, and I think we would have been all satisfied. This match sort of came out of nowhere. And it was wrestled as if it came out of nowhere. Want to say hello to Rick Poling and Diego Rafael Solis Rivera. Welcome to the chat, gentlemans. And of course, the Cody being booed stuff. Well, that's just unique in and about itself. That's, Cody's not going. People are always like, and I can't stress this enough. I can't push this home enough. When is Cody going to turn heel? Cody's not a heel. Cody doesn't consider himself a heel, and he's not perceived as a heel. Cody doesn't come out of the heel tunnel. He doesn't come out of the babyface tunnel. Where does he come out? Straight down the middle. And it's the same thing with Malachi Black. Comes out straight down the middle. They're 2 sides of the same coin, essentially. They're both like neutral. Like they're both chaotic neutral to a degree. Maybe Cody is lawful neutral, and Malachi Black is chaotic neutral. That's essentially what they are. I'm pulling out my D&D speak here. Be impressed. So Cody's not going. There's no point in him turning, because he's neither. He's not a babyface nor a heel. He's never positioned himself that way. He's only been in matches where he was expected to get certain reactions. But there's no point in turning him. Just let the crowd react whatever way they want to react. He's not going to change. And there's no reason to. Because don't kid yourselves. The reactions that he's getting right now, they're the reactions they want him to get. They're fine with it. So whether he's a heel or a babyface, he's just getting the reactions that he wants, and that's it. The AEW Women's World title was defended successfully by Dr. Britt Baker as she defeated Ty Conti. Ty, who has had the support of the MrWarrenHayes Show Discord, of course, but couldn't quite put it out. This was Ty Conti's, not only her biggest and best match to date. No, it was her. No, what was I going to say? It was her. Not only was it her biggest match to date, but her biggest match, but also her best match to date. And look, I thought she did fantastically. This was a bit of a final exam. I don't remember who said that, but I thought it was a salient way to sum it up. This was her final exam as far as how far she's come from being mired in the PC to blossoming in AEW as a legitimate competitor, a wrestler that, shackles removed, let's go kind of thing. And I think she pulled it off. I think there are things when you are put in a big time title match like this that she will develop as she gains more and more experience, right? Because, presentation, the drama, stretching out, dragging out the juice of a good in-ring story, that comes with experience, and that comes with being put in these types of matches. So, was Ty Conti ready to be put in this match? Yes. Because because she's over, first and foremost, she has developed tremendously as a wrestler. I think that as far as giving Britt a bit of a stepping stone contender, because no one expected Ty to win, right? No, that wouldn't have made sense. I think you could have done a lot worse. This turned out to be a really good match. Tay even pulled out a Gotch-style pile driver, right? She's honoring Minoru Suzuki. Then a couple of weeks later, she's taking pictures with Tomohiro Ishii backstage, right? Look, someone wants to go to Japan, and hell yeah, she should. Could you imagine Conchi just kicking the shit out of people in Stardom, or in TGPW? Britt hit an air raid crash off the apron. Just good stuff. Solid match. Nothing that burned the house down, but a solid wrestling match from these two ladies. And this is the thing, is that Ty Conti is only going to get better. She is only going to continue improving. Folks, holy hell. CM Punk defeated Eddie Kingston. Oh, wait a second. Before we move on, Anakin JMT left us a super chat. Thank you very much, Anakin. I appreciate. It says, so many dorks telling me Cody deserved to be on the main card over the women SMH. Look, Cody is unquestionably one of the most polarizing wrestling figures we have out there right now, right? But there was no reason for this match to be on the card. There was nothing I think putting Cody Black 3 on the pay-per-view would have made a lot of sense. This match did not make sense. And it did not feel like a big-time match. It just felt thrown together. Bunch of guys getting a payday. Good for them. Don't get me wrong. When the hustle is real and I respect it. There was room for another women's match here over this. The perfect buy-in match too. And there's always going to be people, right, Anakin? There's always going to be people. Oh yeah, but Eddie Kingston lost to CM Punk. And I love this match, and I'm debating whether if it's my second or third most favorite match on the card. I'm not quite sure yet. Because this is another pay-per-view success for CM Punk, where the storytelling does all the work. And this is something that this is something that CM Punk excels at. And it is his in-ring storytelling. Because every match he's had so far in AEW has not been a 5-star classic. Hasn't been, the match that tore down the house, that, blew people's mind. He didn't blow our minds with his work rate. It's nothing like that. CM Punk communicates a match. That's what he does. He makes you feel about this match. Makes you give a shit about what's going on. Give him Eddie Kingston, who is capable of doing the exact same thing. And look at what we got here. From the pre-Bill back fist that Eddie Kingston used to body CM Punk, right into Punk delivering the best go to sleep he's hit since returning. It was all visceral, authentic. Yes, they did a fantastic job with that legendary promo 2 weeks ago on Rampage, and the build-up, and the timing of Eddie's article as well, going over his journey, his struggles, his mental health issues. This whole story leading up to this was very clear, but we got to this point where it's like these guys, where we believed it. And I am privy to believe that there is some sour grapes here between Kingston and Punk. I'm not ready to say that they're chum best friends, top buddies. Phil has a reputation from years and years in the business of, doing what's best for Phil. That's his reputation, and okay, that's fine. As I said, if he's on a redemption tour and he wants to, make amends and rebuild some bridges, that's good for him. If you're gonna do this tour, that's fine. My point being here is that without saying that these guys outright hate each other, I'm willing to believe that there is some bad blood that still exists between them. And they were able to convey that in this match because it felt real. It felt authentic and visceral, that they don't like each other. To the point that CM Punk gets busted open in the most fantastic visual. And Eddie flipping him off at every occasion that he got. And I swear, guys and gals and non-binary pals, Eddie Kingston is the modern day Dusty Rhodes. That is the only and best comparison that I have, and it makes complete sense. He is the everyman. He is the guy who has struggled for everything he's got. He struggled against others trying to push him down. He struggled against himself. Struggled against his own dark desires. But he made it. He scratched and crawled his way, and he was ready to give it all up. He was ready to just toss it all away, but he never said die. And if that isn't the most 21st century thing right now, the most basic 21st century narrative, I don't know what is. Eddie, and because on top of that, he cuts real emotional promos every single time. That's what he is, man. Then we had the 10-man Minneapolis street fight. Look, I am not going to spend a lot of time on this because this was not the A1 sauce that I needed on my hamburger. Do you put A1 sauce on your hamburger or steak? Does everyone know what A1 sauce is? I feel like A1 sauce is very Commonwealthy-ish. Commonwealth-ish. Like, I know and in Canada, we know it. I don't know. I don't know if my analogy is really good. Steak sauce. It's not the steak sauce I wanted on my steak. It wasn't half as bad as what I thought. But my fears that Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky were not going to come out of this looking better than when they went in still have to be assuaged. Because as it stands right now, we didn't see either guy on Dynamite this week. which is okay. They got another show, Rampage, right? I don't know what Paige and Sky are going to be winning here. I don't know what they've gained. I don't see it yet. Because the Inner Circle won. And of course they were going to win. They weren't going to let the Jim Cornette incarnate win this match. What are you talking about? I mean, the spots were, with Lambert were fun. Very old school managerial, cheesy stuff. It's fine. I had a giggle. But, I mean, clearly this was a palate cleanser for the main event, right? Between Kingston Punk and our main event, which we are going to talk about, where Hangman Adam Page defeated Kenny Omega to become the new AEW World Champion. And stop saying World Heavyweight Champion. There are no weight classes in AEW. That's a dork who challenged me earlier this week on Twitter. It was like, because I was asking, I just wanted to get some opinions, right? Should Hiromu Takahashi become do you think that Hiromu Takahashi will ever become a transition to a heavyweight? Which is possible. Got a lot of very interesting opinions. And one guy says, he just has to go to AEW and all the vanilla midgets are considered heavyweights there. I'm like, bro, there are no weight divisions in AEW. There aren't. Well, there's none in WWE either. There's not a heavyweight title. There's a cruiserweight title. There's weight divisions. Anyway, this one was the big one. This match here, Page, Omega, the real deal. And what will forever make this match special, friends, is the story of Hangman Page. One that started with him failing. Not only failing, and we're going back to 2019, not only failing at capturing the AEW World title, but failing at becoming the top babyface, becoming the top guy, the guy that everyone was going to latch on to. Started with him trying to find acceptance, then with his friends, and that didn't work out. His friends were going off on other paths. He couldn't relate to that. He needed something more real. They had these grandiose ideas. He just couldn't relate to it. He needed something that he could connect to. And he finds it in cowboy shit. And he gave us the definition of what it is. And then he hits the pinnacle of the company. And that is the story that is going to stick. That's what's going to make this match fondly remembered by AEW fans. And this was an extremely good match. We got a lot of Don Callis nonsense to begin with early on, which grinded my gears. But I understood why it was grinding my gears. But it grinded my gears. I felt there was a little too much of it to begin with. Then they start hitting the spots, man. Page hits the moonsault to the floor. Omega hits a huge sunset flip powerbomb off the top rope. Dragon suplexes everywhere. I think he even does one on the apron, if I'm not mistaken, right? Then Page hits that insane moonsault fall-away slam, right? Which was just fantastic stuff. And then we start getting into the end sequence here. Page goes for the buckshot lariat. Omega pulls the referee in the way. We start getting V-triggers from Omega. Then the Young Bucks come out. And then, I started like, oh, motherfuckers. And the Bucks come out. You have Matt Jackson goes on one end of the ring. Nick Jackson goes on to the other. And the Bucks had opportunities to get involved in the match, to interfere, keeping Omega from doing buckshot lariats on Kenny Omega, but they didn't. They sort of just looked at him and it's like, no, we're good. No, we're good. They both did it. And that's significant. It's significant because if you go back to some BTEs from a while back, you've got Hangman Page asking the Bucks to come to, would you guys accompany me to the ring? I'd love you to be in my corner. Kind of like what you did to Kenny Omega when he comes out for a big match. Like when he won the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, you guys were in his corner. Can you come and do that with me? And he said, yeah, sure. No, we'll do it. But they didn't. They never were in his corner. But that night, the Bucks were in Page's corner, and he won. He hits two buckshot lariats, covers Kenny for an explosive win. And it was the moment. And he could have bent over backwards trying to figure out what the hell these guys were up to, right? He could have to figure out ways for Omega to retain the title. But sincerely and truly, there was no other outcome here. There was absolutely no other outcome. And ultimately, you know what I learned here? Pay it off. This is what the default answer to anyone who tells you about a shitty storyline, something that you don't see where this is going, where you see an angle, you see something happening, you're like, I don't understand, this looks stupid. Someone says, let it play out. And you said, no, I want it to pay off. Because that's what we got. We got a story from a guy. And look, if Hangman Page is not the embodiment of AEW, I don't know what it is. AEW starting off, coming in, people are excited. And those first few months, that first fall in 2019, very uneven. Not necessarily great stuff, very confusing. But it starts off just like Page very confused. Things aren't working out. And as the promotion starts getting bigger and more successful and being successful in the ratings and so on and so forth, so does Hangman Adam Page. And right now AEW is at a wonderful spot. It's in a wonderful spot as business goes. So does Adam Page. Good show. I enjoyed it. Oh, Nelly. Are you ready for this? I'm going to talk about the releases. I'm missing. I'll try to talk about Dynamite last night, but the releases are happening, or have happened, or are still ongoing. As it stands right now, it is being reported, it's from Fightful, that John Morrison, Top Dollar, Ashante Adonis, Isaiah Swerve Scott, Drake Maverick, Shane Thorne, and Jackson Riker have all been released, with John Laurinaitis, good old Johnny Ace, citing a budget cuts in the email that was sent to terminate. An email. Okay, are you ready for this? I'm already getting hot under the collar. I'm taking my cardigan off. By the way, don't forget, become a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel once we're done here, after we're done Survivor Series. Predictions. That's what we're talking about. On Tegan Knox. Is Tegan Knox really? Yes, Tegan Knox. Jesus Christ. Okay, I'm going to start with Tegan Knox. I'm going to start straight off the bat with Tegan Knox, because this... Oh my God. Okay, so Tegan Knox, as you will recall, was a competitor in the original Mae Young Classic. There we go. I'll get the words out. She was a competitor in the original Mae Young Classic. Blew out her knees, right? She comes back for a second try, gets injured again. And they do this whole thing with her. Do you remember? She was fighting Rhea Ripley when she got to her original injury, if I'm not mistaken. Was it the original? I think it was the original. She was fighting Rhea Ripley. And what did Rhea Ripley do? Rhea Ripley, who was a heel at the time, did the perfect heel thing. She took to Twitter and she took credit for the injury. She was like, ha ha ha, you dumb bitch, or whatever. She didn't say you dumb bitch, but it's like, I took you out. I'm the one who shelved you. You're out of here. And in the meantime, WWE does videos where they show Tegan crying backstage, doing all the things. And then later on, doing the inspirational comeback story, showing videos of her in physical therapy, trying to get back on her legs, literally. Triple H there, encouraging her and hugging her and saying, yeah, you got this, kid, kind of thing. And we're all looking at this and we're saying, they have a built-in feud for her return. It is built in. They have everything in their possession right now to create an extraordinary babyface out of Tegan Nox. And what do they do? Now, on top of that, they bring her back. They do the War Games thing with Dakota Kai because they're all chummy. And then they have Dakota Kai do one of the best heel turns in recent company history. Just coming out of nowhere and destroying Tegan. Destroying her. And they can't capitalize on that either. They don't know what to do with her. Creative's got nothing for you, sister. Sorry. And probably the best thing that they could have come up with for her, creatively speaking, in their brainworm environment, is to have her come up to main roster with Shotzi Blackheart, fucking Shotzi Blackheart, who is a charisma bomb, with the tank. They're wearing leather. They're coming down. They're two like little Spitfires, right? And they fighting for a shot at the titles and so on and so forth. And they still break up the tag team and they're like, well, whatever. Now they fire her. They fire someone who legitimately did not stand a chance. And this is what pisses us off. When I say us who watch WWE and cannot comprehend the shit-ass decisions they make. Tegan Nox is a wrestler who delivered all the opportunities to WWE to make something with her. Because she still has it. She can still wrestle. She can still go. She's fantastic. She's got that babyface charisma. She's got it. We don't know what to do with her. How do you not know what to do when Fate, it's not even Tegan herself, it's not even WWE, Fate lined all this shit up and you can't do anything. This is what pisses us off because you end up with this fantastic talent in your hands and you don't know what to do with it? Are you kidding? Then again, I am not surprised. These are the same people who are saying to themselves right now, sitting around with their notes and their pens on their little notepads, going, Shotzi Blackheart as a heel. That's gold, pal. And they're all sitting around patting themselves on the back and saying, yeah, Shotzi Blackheart as a heel. That's a fucking good move. It's the same people. And then they're going to be, well, Shotzi can't get herself over. Tegan never had a chance. She never was given and it's not even a question of she never grabbed the brass ring or whatever the fuck. They didn't even give her the opportunity to slide through the door to try and get a chance. She's probably going to go back to Nixon Newell, which is fine, which is what I knew her as, and I was like, Tegan Knox is kind of weird. Nixon Newell, she's like, ultimately, she's going to be fine. Don't get me wrong. I'm not crying on her firing because I'm not crying over her being fired right now because I'm like, she's going to be okay. She's going to find work anywhere. There's no way people with half a brain are going to leave Nixon Newell out there on the market. She's going to be fine. But I am just boggled. My mind is boggled that they're sitting around and they go, we don't know what to do with her. Jesus Christ, this company. I want to say hi to Kyle Ierson, the son of Ire. Welcome to the chat. And Ryan Smith, not to see you. John Morrison's been released. That's to me, that's a huge name that they got rid of. And you know what? It sucks because it's all probably because the Miz wanted to go off and do other shit. And John was like, sure, go. Or, whatever. And it's like, well, we got to go do. Here's the thing. When John Morrison came back to WWE, what is it like? Like just about 2 years or a little under 2 years ago? He was having some fantastic matches. And he was actually doing, some of the usual John Morrison tropes where you're like, oh, well, Starship Pain, will hit once out of every 3 shots. All that stuff. The king of parkour. Like, what the fuck? The king of parkour. What does that even mean? He's jumping off of barricades in wrestling. That's not parkour. That's wrestling in 2021. But he was having legitimately good matches. Very entertaining. He was doing some of the best in-ring work I've seen him do. Does the tag with The Miz, and they do, the stuff with The Miz was outrageously obnoxious, and it's still not my cup of tea, and it's, the music videos and the thing that was interesting despite it all was how much charisma he did have with The Miz. But I think the main problem here is how tightly wound he was to The Miz as an act. And you have the proof here. Where it's like, well, without The Miz, what are we going to do with him? So John Morrison and Taya Valkyrie are no longer in the employ of anyone. At this point. And that's, honestly, it's kind of wild to me. I thought John Morrison had his spot. I thought he was going to be fine. I really thought he was going to make it to the very end here of his career. Honestly. Top Dollar, Ashante Adonis, and Isaiah Swerve Scott have all been released. That otherwise known as Hit Row. Look, I am laughing because of how ridiculously absurd that is. It is so insanely ridiculous. Where you have Hit Row, become a real hot commodity on NXT. Something that had people buzzing about something happening on NXT that was legitimately interesting, that was captivating, that got people excited. They were like, oh, this is actually good, right? And to the point where before they actually do the 2.0 transfer thing, the lot of them get called up. Because that's how hot an act this was. They call them up. They get the hype packages. They get drafted, right? As a unit, all four of them. Because let's not forget you had BFAB, who wasn't there. Then BFAB gets released. Yeah, the three dudes were left, and already you're sort of looking at the three, and you're like, well, this is lacking a little spice, anyways. This is lacking a little something. And then they announced today that the rest of Hit Row is gone. Or they did not announce, but they fire them. They're like, hit the bricks. Now, Isaiah Swerve Scott, Shane Strickland, I guess we can go back to calling him, and Ashante Adonis. Fantastic wrestlers. And again, these are dudes who are going to be fine. They're going to get work, whether it's back on the indies, or you know what? A guy like Shane Strickland has definitely, absolutely a spot in AEW. That's a guy who is tailor-made for AEW. They'll be fine. I can only marvel at the ridiculousness of this inane level of, what is it, booking, creative, shifting things around. Top Dollar, though. Top Dollar didn't necessarily make himself any friends. And quite honestly, he's got a mouth on him. He can talk. He can pick fights with well-established wrestlers. But he ain't as good as he likes to think he is. This guy's he's a PC product. And that's the other wild thing, right? This guy's he's a PC product. Born and trained in the PC is Top Dollar. And they tell him to hit the bricks. Now, was the thing with Jinder Mahal, I don't know. But I think Top Dollar is going to find it a lot harder to find work out there than Shane Strickland and Ashante Adonis, who are ultimately going to be fine. And you know what? The very selfish part of me goes, I am really glad that Strickland is not in WWE anymore, because he would never reach the heights that his talent he will never reach the heights justified by the amount of talent that he has, because that guy is amazing. Want to say hello to Kristen Ashley, the first lady of the Mr. Warren Hayes show. Yeah. Popping in. How you doing? As we're talking about the newest releases. Jesus Christ. Drake Maverick's gone. Boy, oh boy. That was tearful release video from about 18 months ago. That was worth its weight in gold, wasn't it? That was something. I feel bad for him to a degree, because he really worked hard to get he really wanted his job back, his job back, and he got it back, and he was returned and then booked. And then here's the thing, is that these people, Jason PS3, nice to see you, by the way, welcome to the chat. The thing here with Drake is that it's not a question, again, of this guy being it's not a question of this guy being a bad wrestler or being untalented. This is, again, another situation where WWE goes, we don't know what to do with you. No long-term plans. We'll bring you back for the heartwarming contract sign, that you can sign your contract at the end of the match, and then we're all teary-eyed and we feel so good because he worked to get his job back, and so on and so forth. This unjust WWE system. Yay, go Drake. And then they don't capitalize on it, because they could have made him into a babyface. They could have underdogged him. They could have done so many things. And the guy can talk. We know he can talk. They like the comedy shit. Let him do the comedy shit. He's really good at it. That's what Spud was for. That's what Spud was known for. It's 24/7 bullshit. It's cancer. Shane Thorne got released. I mean, look, they tried with Shane Thorne. But again, did they try hard enough? Then again, they wanted to saddle him with some kind of Crocodile Dundee gimmick. Maybe it's for the best, kind of thing. You're like, well, you know what, Shane? Maybe, sure, the guaranteed weekly checks are nice for sure, or bi-weekly or monthly, whatever, but that blows, man. And they released Jackson Riker, and I don't know why it took them that long. That's my level of commentary regarding that situation there. And Jackson Riker, look, there's two levels you can look at this. You can look at you can look at his morality, or you can look at his wrestling, right? You can look at either. And if you want to be extremely objective and keep all of the politics out of it, right? Which is fair if you really want to do it. He sucked. He always sucked. Not good. I don't know why they thought that there was some potential here. He stunk. Hit the bricks, man. And then on top of that, he's a racist weirdo. So long. I can't help but look at this list, though. And I still can't help but feel like this is a purging of Triple H's people. Right? Because you look at, maybe outside of John Morrison, right? But Tegan, Drake Maverick, Shane Thorne, Shane Strickland, Ashante Adonis, all clearly, all people who came under Triple H's watch in NXT. All people that Triple H believed in, wanted to push, on and so forth. It's weird optics again. But Top Dollar, how the mighty have fallen. Welcome to the world of professional wrestling. Oh, that guy, he's got to be getting roasted right now on Twitter. Something fierce. But hey, look, it is a long fall from such a high horse. It really is. Be humble. guys, gals, non-binary pals. Humility. It goes a long way. Makes you look human. Makes you feel like you actually understand how things work in the world. And that your own station could one day be in danger and that you might need help, right? I'm sure he doesn't care. That's not the point, but... And their budget cuts again is the reason. And of course, time and time again, we'll just keep, we'll say it time and time again here. Budget, it's a bullshit answer. Because claiming budget cuts, other than the fact that you just want your company to be more profitable, but when you are a $1 billion company, and you're citing budget cuts, that doesn't make sense. Unless, and this is still my ongoing theory, that you are trimming down to make yourself look interesting for a potential buyer. And again, I want to preface this, or it's not too late. I can't preface because I've already said it. But I wanted to underscore the fact that I don't think WWE is selling this year, maybe not even next year. But I am convinced that Tony Khan, before his mandate is up as the boss, his mandate is to get WWE sold to Disney, to Fox, whoever wants it, NBC Universal. Because there's no reason to be dumping this much talent. And again, look, this is my, if you've heard me talk about this a million times, you'll hear me talk about it a million times more. Nick Khan comes into the business, looks over the books, looks over, the amount, the salaries that are being pushed out yearly. And he's like, why are we paying so many people? Why are we paying, a couple of months ago was this, 230 people listed as talent when there are only 70 open spots per week on our wrestling shows for talent to make appearances. This guy looks at the spreadsheets and like, this does not make sense. And again, this guy is not a carny. He didn't come up through the territories like Vince and Bruce and Johnny. He looks at this as a business, and he takes a look at it and he's like, you know what? None of this makes sense. We got to start trimming the fat. He doesn't have some weird feud with Ted Turner. He doesn't give a shit. His job is to make WWE profitable. And I don't see any entertainment business or even a sports team, whatever, having only spending millions of dollars on salaries, but only being able to use 30% of that talent on your shows or on your matches. It doesn't make fiscal sense. But this is Vince hoarding talent because he didn't want the others to get it, because he wanted to starve the indies, whatever you want to call it. That's what he does. Nick Khan has no time for this bullshit. Like, thank you, you're gone. Trimming the fat. Anakin JMT left us a super chat. Thank you very much. Again, Anakin, he said, Wrestle Talk pointed out this morning that Hit Row were announced for a tag team battle royal on Survivor Series. Oh, this show. This show, this company, this show. If you want to hear me talk about Survivor Series, become a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. After we're done here, we're going to go I'm going to be joined by Conrad of Everything Pro Wrestling, and we are going to do a predictions and preview show of Survivor Series 2021. Jesus Christ. And then on top of all this information here, Godspeed to everyone who unfortunately lost their jobs, and a lot of for whom probably ending up in WWE was a dream for them, right? And the thing that stinks, because again, like I said, most of this talent is going to be fine. It's going to be absolutely fine. They're going to find work, whether it's in the independents or in other promotions. They are going to be okay, and we're going to continue enjoying their work. But what stinks is that a lot of this talent never had the chance to make it, or never had the backing to even pop on TV and have things happen, right? Because when creative, look, Drake Maverick and Killian Dane, when they had their tag team, I thought it was a very entertaining pairing. The dynamic was fun. It was a legitimately fresh take on the Can They Coexisting. They were leaning into it. That was the joke, right? And I liked it. I thought it was entertaining. It was fun. Then at some point they split them up. Oh, we got nothing for you. Whose fault is that? Yeah, he couldn't get himself over. It was over. And creative decides to pull the plug. By the way, shout out to Elias, who avoids another set of cuts. And he hasn't been on the show in months. That said, I like Elias. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say, oh, you should be fired. No, I like Elias. It's just another round of cuts, and Elias is still employed by the company. Wild. I guess he ultimately won the feud with Jackson Riker. Anakin left us another super chat. Thank you very much, Anakin. Oh, and he says, Xavier Woods just learned about the releases live on G4. That's got to be... That's rough, man. Can you imagine? There's probably people you like, and there's probably people he likes in this group, right? And you're just doing your thing, and you learn about it live, and anyway, thank you for the super chat, Anakin. I appreciate it. I've had my dose of WWE here. I want to talk about Hangman Page's first challenger, Bryan Danielson, who's going to be the, of course, won the AEW Eliminator Tournament. This was great here again. You know, okay. So one of the rare occasions where AEW or Dynamite starts off with a segment, a promo, doesn't start with a match, and I'm still frosty on it. I understand that, the big deal was Adam Page. That's what people were tuning in to see. It was National Cowboy Shit Day yesterday. That's what people were tuning in to see. They wanted to see Adam Page come out with the title. And I can understand that. That's fine. I'm not a fan of your wrestling show starting with anything else than a wrestling match. That, you guys know this by now. This is very personal. But I mean, the segment was effective because the idea here was for Danielson to come out and become an asshole. And that's exactly what he did. What I thought, one of the thoughts that I had when Full Gear ended was like, bold move, AEW, to go and take beloved career wrestling legend Bryan Danielson and put him in the first, as your first defense against your newly crowned babyface champion, Adam Page. Very bold to split the audience like that. Who are they going to cheer for? I didn't consider that they'd turn Danielson heel. And I was like, well, how are they going to pull that off? People like Danielson so much. Look at how they're going to do this. Look at what happened. Daniel Bryan, full asshole mode. Comes to congratulate the champ. Says, I'm disappointed I'm not getting another shot at Kenny Omega. Ooh, shot number 1. Page responds and he says, well, at least I beat Kenny Omega in under 30 minutes. Ooh, that's a great comeback. I liked it. But Danielson continues. He says, you were talking about all the stuff that's cowboy shit. Wrestling wasn't one of them, right? And he said, he said, wrestling, that's part of me. That's part of what I do. When I won the world championship at WrestleMania, and yes, he uses the word WrestleMania. That comes out of his mouth. On AEW Dynamite, when he says WrestleMania, I wrestled the very next night. And you're sort of like, oh, Paige, you won the title on Saturday, and now it's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 4 days later. And you're not defending it, and you're like, okay, all right, asshole Daniel Bryan, asshole Bryan Danielson, asshole Daniel Bryanson. Yeah, like very good stuff, right? And look, this goes to my point earlier that I was saying that the lore of AEW is the lore of wrestling, right? It doesn't matter. We know he came from WWE. Why hide it? Why pretend that it never happened? Bryan was a superstar in WWE. Well, why would you pretend the opposite? Why wouldn't you say WrestleMania? They talked about Wrestle Kingdom on AEW TV before. Talked about the G1. They talk about other promotions and their big events. Anyway. So I like that for that. But basically, Danielson says, I hear, Hangman, you're very good at coming up with excuses for losing. He says, when I beat you, I don't want any excuses for what you lost the title. They end up brawling. But here's the thing. This is where it's been so low-key wonderful. And why they're able to pull this off like this. First of all, Daniel Bryan, he showed, right? He showed that he is able to, on a dime, just be a cool baby face or a shitty heel on a dime. He knows how to work the crowd on that level. Fantastic stuff. But look at this. This is the thing you have to keep in mind. What did Bryan Danielson say when he came into AEW? He said, I want to kick some heads in. He said he doesn't want to come around and to go, yes.
Ooh,
It's like, there was nothing on that. There was nothing for him to come out and say, he didn't come into AEW to be a friendly, happy-go-lucky guy. He wants to fight people. He wants to hurt people. That's what he's been saying all along. And it just so happens that he's been fighting heels most of the way. So we've been cheering for him, and we've been cheering for him because we're happy to see him wrestle again, so on and so forth. But it all makes sense. Like, this isn't a stretch. It's not like suddenly he's become villainous and now his beard is black and he has to carry a hemp world title with him or something like that. Like, nothing like that. But he does, just because of that, just because of the fact that he's back into that he's into that mode, he can move into it harder and just be like, look, I don't care if you're the babyface, if you're the champion, I'm going to kick your ass anyway. I've been kicking everyone's asses regardless. And I'm like, oh, this is great. This all makes sense. It's a natural progression, which is why we're not surprised, which is why the heel turn didn't take like 6 weeks of buildup. Just like, no, let's do it. It makes sense. And I like it. So now what is he doing? He said, he said it himself, until I fight you, Adam Page, I am going to kick the heads in of every Dark Order member that gets in my way. And next week he's fighting Colt Cabana. And he keeps coming back to that expression, kick some heads in, which is what he said he'd do in his first interview. The first time he opened his mouth as an AEW guy, he talked about kicking people's heads in. It's always been bringing back. It's always been coming back to that. I loved it. I thought it was great. Got some super chats and whatnot going on here. Thank you very much. Let's start with Anakin here. Thank you again, Anakin. Very generous again tonight. I appreciate it, man. He says, Bryan was also being hypocritical because Triple H made him wrestle against his will that Raw. I see. But look, there's nothing worse than a heel who's right. Because even though the circumstances, the context, right, will have you go, well, there's a caveat here. There's an asterisk. The heel will come after you and say, you know what? I wrestled regardless. Did I wrestle? Yes. Did I? Yes. I wrestled. That's all that matters. Thank you very much, Anakin. I appreciate it. Then we have Jay Kearns from Armbar Audio. Subscribe to Armbar Audio. I don't know what you guys are doing if you're not. Thank you very much. Jay Kearns left a super chat. I appreciate it, man. He says, that was unfair of Bryan to say Raw is on Mondays. Yeah, I know. He said the very next night I was wrestling. Yeah, of course. That's part of the grand joke of it. But nonetheless, see, that's the thing, is that there's nothing better than a heel who is right. Who he did wrestle the next night regardless. And we're 4 nights later, and Hangman Page did not wrestle. So it sort of irks at you. Yeah, but your old promotion's weekly show was on Mondays regardless. Why? And ours is on Wednesday, so it's not really fair. It doesn't matter because he did it anyway. And Hangman Page, 4 days after winning the title, still hasn't fought. You gotta appreciate the asshole aspect of it. That's what's great. It is unfair, but it's also great. It's an unfair comparison is what I mean, yes. But thank you very much, Jay Kearns. I appreciate it. DGMC, a member for 18 months of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. Thank you very much for that 18-month membership, man. I appreciate it. A little off topic here, but we're on the Discord where he and I are very excited for the Cowboy Bebop live action program coming on Netflix starting this weekend, actually. He said, fun Bebop screening releases kind of ruined my high. Yeah, the WWE releases, so I'm glad that the show was good because I'm looking forward to it. It looks very stylistic. I'm very excited to see what they're going to do with it, but sucks that the WWE releases sort of pulled the plug there. I talked about the releases because it was all happening live, right? Live audio podcasting. Shout out to John Pollock. I'm not trying to steal your thing. Yeah, Pluggo, nice to see you, sir. Welcome to the chat. TBS title tournament quarterfinals also happened last night. Nyla Rose defeated Hikaru Shida to move forward before we talk about updated brackets and we keep our discussion there because y'all know I love me some tournament wrestling. I think Nyla Rose versus Shida last night was their best match so far. And I know that there's a lot of people who have very, very near and dear to their hearts the no disqualification match where Shida won the title. And that's fantastic. It was fantastic. But this match that we saw last night was their tightest, most well-wrestled match so far, the both of them together. And it's good. You know what's great is that we can have this analysis at this point regarding these women because they have been embroiled with each other. They've had history. So now we can look back on the history and go like, well, as things progress, this was probably their best match, and I love that. That's the kind of thing I love to do with New Japan. It's the kind of thing I'm excited that I'm looking forward to doing more with AEW, and especially for the women's division. And now we're getting the chances of doing it. There's more and more of this rotation happening. So, good stuff. And I really, really think this was their best match. I really and sincerely do believe this was the best Nyla and Shida looked. The DQ match was fun, but I think that the DQ stipulation was there to as a little smoke and mirrory. Let's put it that way. Some smoke and mirrors, right? That would be my guess. I think that's why. Just to cover up some shortcomings. Nothing to cover up here. This was a great match. And I don't think Nyla Rose gets enough recognition for for how much she has improved since AEW started. I've been on the record to say this. I absolutely be on the record with this, and I'm not gonna hide it. I thought Nyla Rose stunk when she started. I thought she was botchy. I thought she was slow. I didn't like Nyla Rose announced her a match. I go ugh. But she has come such a long way. She is a blast to watch now. Her character work, she's more confident with it. She's never been this good. And again, kind of because we keep talking about Ty, because Ty is such a Ty Conchi is such a revelation when it comes to the work that's put into the PC versus the work that's put into an actual wrestling company, right? And how she's flourished and become something absolutely fantastic. Now, Nyla is part of that too. She's never been at the PC, don't get me wrong. But it's crazy when you look at her right now and how much she's grown. You're like, she doesn't get that much credit. And yet, you can tell she's been putting in the work. She's been putting in the reps. And she's fantastic. This was such a good match. Now, as far as our standings go, as it stands right now, of course, we are getting, let's see here. Nyla Rose advances, so she is going to be in the semifinals. She's going to be facing the winner of Chris Statlander and Ruby Soho. Now, as I said, Nyla Rose and Shida, to me, was the main toss-up. That was the one that you questioned the most who was going to move forward. Now that Nyla Rose is there, I'm convinced Ruby Soho is moving forward. I think they want to continue to position Ruby Soho as a big-time babyface in the company for the women, and nothing like having your big baby face taking on Nyla Rose. I know a lot of people really like Chris Statlander, but I think Chris Statlander is fine. I think Ruby Soho needs this tournament win a little more. I think she needs it a little more. Continue to establish herself. Chris Statlander is over. She's in one of the most over factions in the company. Plus, she's in Chaos now. She's fine. She's absolutely fine. So we'll see when that match happens, but I still think Nyla Rose, Ruby Soho, semifinals in that part of the bracket with Ruby Soho going forward into the finals. On Friday this week, tomorrow, we're getting Jade Cargill versus Red Velvet, and I still think Jade Cargill is going to go forward. This is great, though. This is great, and I love AEW leaning into it with the promos and the vignettes that they've been doing, leaning into the history between these two women. It's their third match that they're going to be fighting. Jade Cargill is 2 for 0 against Red Velvet. Red Velvet is still a perfect choice to help Cargill look like $1 million, and that's what she's going to do. That's her job. She's reliable. She'll do it. It'll be fantastic. Jade Cargill is going to go forward. But this is my little asterisk here. If you did want to do an underdog story, Red Velvet is the woman to do it with. Like, if you wanted to have her pull off a surprise win over Cargill, that's instant appreciation. People will pop huge for it. But I still think, like, it would be a surprise. I still think Cargill's going forward because I think there's a more interesting match. I think it's a more interesting pairing against Thunder Rosa because, yes, I think Thunder Rosa is going to be defeating Jamie Hayter, but it's going to slam. It's going to be great. Jamie Hayter is going to keep taking those ridiculous high crossbodies off the top rope where people are going to go, oh, no, be careful. Don't hurt Jamie. Jamie looks hurt. Jesus Christ, she's a pro wrestler first and foremost. Stop. At some point, we have to stop treating our pro wrestlers like they're, porcelain dolls. And I don't know if it's more the women or whatever, but we have to. They're tough, and especially someone like Jamie Hayter, who wrestled in Japan. Are you fucking kidding me? She wrestled in Japan. She's fine. She can take a high crossbody. She'll get back up. She'll dust herself off and said, "Okay, let's do it again." And with Thunder Rosa, my prediction is still Thunder Rosa versus Jade Cargill in the semifinals. And the finals is still, in my opinion, Jade Cargill versus Ruby Soho. I'm still going with that. I'm excited to see how this keeps going. Jade Cargill, Red Velvet tomorrow night. Excited to see it. AK Germany 96 left us a super chat. Thank you very much. He says, imagine losing Mox and Kenny and still being this hot. I know, right? Kenny's going to take some time off to heal, to surgery, there's a rumor, but definitely taking some time off. And he said it on Dynamite, I got to go take some time off for a while. I got to go, what was it? I have stuff to fix and I can't fix it here kind of thing. I also wonder if that's code for him going to New Japan for a bit, but he's probably going to rest. And he should rest. Thank you, Kenny. Thank you for everything. But see, that's what happens when you build people. You keep people hot, not just your top people. You keep a whole bunch of people hot. You get a really good mid-card going. That's what happens. So you lose a couple of big stars. That's fine. We've got other people for those spots that they're all warmed up and ready to go and people are excited to see. Just as simple as that. Just as simple as that. Hey, look at this. Evan Wright. Thank you very much for the 12-month membership. I appreciate it, man. He says 12 months of running out of pops and no casuals. That's right. We're running out of pops and who cares about the No one ever thinks about the casual viewers. Jesus. Oh, yeah. Thank you very much for that. Anakin JMT left us another super chat, man. Thank you, Anakin. I appreciate it, man. It's so kind of you. It says Kenny has a AAA title defense against El Hijo del Vikingo. Correct. That's coming up very, very soon. But that's it. I mean, that's one match, and then he can rest or go to Japan. I want to give a big. Look. I know a lot of people really liked the main event last night, and Sammy Guevara and Jay Lethal, and that's absolutely fair. I definitely have issues with Jay Lethal being signed, and this is very personal. I mean, look, there's no other reason you come here and listen than if to not hear my personal views on pro wrestling and how things are going, right? I mean, so of course everything is very personal here. But, the signing of Jay Lethal was very weird to me. And it's really on two factors. The first factor is, yes, he is a 2 decades in veteran. He's very good at what he does. Charismatic, very good mic worker. But when they announced the signing, my first thought, legitimately, is what does he bring to the table that other guys on the AEW roster right now can't? And there are people currently employed by that company who bring the same skill set, the same type of promo delivery and whatever that Jay Lethal has. So I don't quite get the signing. It came out of left field, and especially when it comes to the Ring of Honor people, I'm looking at him like, look, you sign a guy like Brody King. Brody King doesn't look like anyone on the roster right now. Maybe a little outside of Malachi Black, but you know what I mean. Like, he's a big guy, super athletic, throws himself around, has a very, very special kind of charisma and aura about him that people really dig. He stands out in an AEW locker room. Jay Lethal I don't know, man. It's very strange to me. And Lethal, well, comes with a substantial amount of baggage between speaking out allegations from Kelly Klein, from Taylor Hendricks. Kelly Klein filed suit against Sinclair because they were supposed to investigate it. Never did. Taylor Hendricks lost her job. I think there's something to be said about bringing in individuals who have this type of track record, who have been called out, and by multiple women. And Kelly Klein said herself, there's multiple women here, not just me. Multiple women who have had experiences with Jay Lethal. I think there's something to be said to bring in that guy in unchecked, who has this reputation, whether it's justified or not. Nothing has ever been cleared up, and these things still loom large. And the speaking out movement still has a shadow, still casts a shadow, but it's not as large as we think it is. Because there's a lot of weird decisions that are being happened. It's like, oh, well, enough time has passed, people are forgetting. Is this an appropriate message that's being sent out? And I'm stunned a little bit that AEW would go down this lane and hire someone who was very, very specifically called out. And that's on top of the fact that there are stories out there of Jay Lethal being not being a very good person, period. Should read up about some of the stuff that ACH recounts happened between him and Lethal. So it's a strange one. It's a strange one. And I find myself, despite the fact that, I find myself in a weird position to talk about the main event and praise it or tear it down in a situation where I'm like, where this particular wrestler in AEW is, to me, feels like his presence in AEW is sending a very, very strange message that doesn't feel coherent with what we expect of that company. A company that was, built from the fan base, grassroots, coming up, that is supposed to be in tune with what fans are saying and what the fans are excited about. It's supposed to be progressive to a certain degree, and I mean, they've never outright said it, but they have, trumpeted the fact, multiple times, let's say, that over the fact that, Nyla Rose was the first trans performer that to wrestle in a major company like that, right? And they should, because it's a big deal. Then you turn around and you get a guy who doesn't have a great reputation, amongst women, maybe creates a weird environment in the locker room. I can't get excited about Jay Lethal being in AEW. I don't. For the speaking out stuff, for his baggage, but also for what he brings as a performer. I don't see it. I don't see what makes him stand out from the pack. I really don't. Combination of things. But hey, Dynamite was still a good show last night. Dante Martin, want to finish this on a good note? Dante Martin, Lio Rush, Christ, that ruled. Wasn't that fantastic? Excellent stuff. Lio Rush just being quick, fast little man, right? Just going, you just can't catch the cat. The cat's too quick. And Dante Martin, man, someone on Twitter was posting a gif of Dante Martin from a year ago when he was with his brother tag teaming, and he has improved literally by leaps and bounds, like very literally. He's so good at what he does. Guy's a star, man. Both of those guys are stars. That was good stuff. It was a fun episode. Guess I won't have time really to dive into the Best of Super Juniors because I'm going to be wrapping this up soon as much as I wanted. Maybe I'll do a little something, or maybe I'll go a little more in depth next week as far as New Japan goes. But as we stand right now, because it's another round robin tournament, right? There's only one block, 10 competitors, and we're into night 3 of Best of Super Juniors at this point. Of course, the winner gets a title shot at the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion at Wrestle Kingdom. However, the champion is in this tournament, El Desperado. So if El Desperado wins the block, he gets to pick his opponent, essentially. And as it stands right now, night 3, I haven't seen night 3. It's not on New Japan yet, but I've seen the results. And I wanted to watch it before getting on the show, but it's not on New Japan. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Anyway, Sho is leading the leaderboard. Sho at 6 points. Hiromu Takahashi, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Dookie, Bushi, and Taiji Ishimori all tied at 4 points. El Desperado, Taguchi, Robbie Eagles, Master Wato, and El Fantasmo all tied at 2. And Sho's former opponent, coming up with the goose egg at the end. No points. Shows. I'm gonna have to talk about this very, very soon, but Sho being a part of the House of Torture Bullet Club subfaction with Evil and with all the interference that they do and all the bullshit, it doesn't look good on him, and it doesn't work for me. I'm not leaning into it. I don't think it's good. Because the thing is that Sho straight up all by himself was so fantastic. He was just fantastic from the get-go. He didn't need all the bullshit. Because especially during the pandemic, right? Especially when he was fighting Shingo, right? In the New Japan Cup and whatnot. A junior and a heavyweight, right? Sho's deal was he's a junior who can fight just about anyone. He can fight with the heavyweights and give them a run for their money. And yeah, it's going to take him some time to score the big wins, but he's going to get there eventually. Yes, I also understand this part of the character development where he can be like, well, I'm going to cut some corners because I'm sick of losing. I can get that. But it's the Sho professional wrestling character right now is much less interesting than when he was about a year ago, which kind of sucks, which actually really sucks. But that wraps up the weekly wrestling inspection. Well, I am going to wrap this one up for this week, folks. And remember, members of the MrWarrenHayes Show channel, come stick around. I'm going to be recording just in a few minutes. I'm going to be recording my my prediction show with Conrad of Everything Pro Wrestling. We're going to be starting in just a few minutes, so please stick around for that. That's going to be awesome. It's for members, so you can still become a member. Join us in the live chat. Join us in the Discord. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a good time. Just like tonight was a good time. And we had some live surprises with these releases, WWE releases happening right before our eyes. There's advantages to doing this live. You get to react on the fly. It's good stuff. I like it. And I hope you guys liked it too. I really appreciate all of you showing up tonight, coming in, joining me for the past 2 hours or so. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your week. Hope you have a great weekend as well. If you're not going to be a member and join us for the recording of the prediction show, it'll be out this weekend. Be sure to check it out. Survivor Series predictions preview with Conrad of Everything Pro Wrestling. In the meantime, folks, thank you all so very much once again. We'll see you next time.